Alright guys, so you've seen the list of Jiang Jun changes. I'm just going to go through them with Mr. Alanak in here, most prestigious and far more knowledgeable than I guess, to talk about this. Where
Yeah,
I will
welcome. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Very cool. So, starting with Alarm, I just have in no particular order a 500 ms soft feint side light change to 400 ms. I'm very happy with that change. I think it's a common sense change. How do you feel?
Yeah, the 500 ms light in the beta didn't even feel like it was 500 ms. It was always a free parry, so it never even felt like 500. I always thought it was 600 actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, changing that to 400 is a great change. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too big, but I do think it's gonna make it a little bit more safe for him to do that. So that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it might allow you to land a heavy, maybe even into a guard sometimes. His kick is now 400 ms. I've a bit like I'm happy about that, but I've mixed feelings. Like maybe I'm on the wrong track here, but I would like his forward dash heavy that offers this mix up to have hyper armor. I believe it'll be very easy to interrupt.
Regardless does it not have hyper armor like late? Does it not have hyper armor like very late into the?
No.
Wait, really?
No, there's no hyper armor in forward dash heavy for Jiang Jun. Oh. There's hyper armor on neutral heavy.
Okay.
The forward dash heavy to enter into the kick is has no hyper armor, and it's quite the animation tell. So I believe it'll be interrupted.
All right. So then, yeah, definitely some hyper armor would be nice. Not necessarily throughout the entire attack.
Yeah, you wouldn't need it for the whole thing.
Yeah, towards the end of the animation, that would be nice. I think the most important part here, though, is that as long as you cannot dodge all of Jiang Jun's options on one timing, like you could on the open test, then that's going to already be a massive improvement over what he had in the test. It's not going to be like the best offense in the game, just like Kensei's, for example, can be interrupted right pretty well. But as long as he can deal with that interruption, just like Kensei can, I think it's going to be a lot better. At least in terms of like theory. I don't know if practically, like in the real game, is going to be like the best, but I hope it's at least usable.
Yeah, I'm hoping for it to be usable as well, but it's a positive change, the right direction. I hope it works out as theorized. After that, there ain't a whole lot to talk about, JJ. It didn't change too much. Okay, just someone followed my Twitch, in case anyone were wondering what that sound was from Metal Gear Solid.
Thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the follow, whoever you were. So, there's some damage changes here, buffs as well on the damage. So the initial opening line is up to 18 from 15, which you're telling me is quite high, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's one of the highest damaging opening lights in the game now. If you look at the other heavies, Warlord has a 13 damage light, Conqueror has a 13 damage light, Shugoki has a 15 damage light at 600 ms, which obviously all of those lights are just pretty bad in terms of damage, and should be a little bit higher. But yeah, 18 damage is like the second highest, or I guess third highest now with Shaolin. Shinobi and Shaolin have higher damage, but I think no one else has higher damage. All sides. Now, of course, Kensei has more on one side, Orochi has more on one side as well. But on all sides, that's like overall probably one of the highest damaging lights in the game.
Yeah, so that's a nice, generous little buff there. I didn't expect, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either, because I don't think anyone really complained about his light damage necessarily. It was more about his hitboxes and his maybe some of his parry punishes or Gabrick punishes, like being pretty low damage. But they just kind of buffed that out of the blue, which is, I mean, it's a nice change definitely for
JJ players. Yeah. 20 damage, another buff on the light after the kick landing, that shin kick, which is a nice damage increase too. Then after that, the damage zones confirmed as normalized. All the damage zones chat are 28, which I'm pretty happy with. For damage on that zone. Any higher might be a bit absurd, to be honest.
Yeah, if you make if you make them like 30 or 35, that'd be pretty absurd. But making them all the same, I think that's nice for people who didn't exactly know why they were doing different damage at different points in time. And obviously for balance purposes, it's much easier also to balance it if it's always the same in all situations. And simply it's just, I think, nicer to have a little bit more damage to actually feel like you're doing something as Jiang Jun, right? Especially since you do have those damage buffs with your tier 1 feet, so you can kind of pile up.
Sure.
Damage.
Yeah, you be interesting to see what way the feats go. We don't have any information on that yet, but we'll see how feats are when we get our hands on Marching Fire. Then it looks like the bug is fixed on the choke. I don't know if you noticed, Alarm, but the choke was bugged in the last test.
Yeah, right.
Would work sometimes, wouldn't work other times. Sometimes worked odd, like they went too far. They go really far away, and you can't hit them at all. But that's fixed, and when an opponent runs out of stamina and they're choked, they'll fall over for whatever the optimal punish turns out to be on that, which is nice. The choke will probably actually be used, and it does 84 stamina damage, which sounds like a lot to me. Is it? Do you think?
It is. It is a lot. Like from full stam, if you parry a heavy, like the guy is full stam, he throws a heavy on you, you parry it, he's just barely not out of stamina, just barely. So if he fainted and did a heavy and then did a heavy and you parried it, he's going to be out of stamina. So there's a lot of stamina damage.
I think Mr. Jiang Jun could be a difficult boy to kill, played right. I'm not sure how Sifu is going to work out in game. I feel like more time is needed on that to see is bad, is good, is mediocre. Let's see.
Yeah. In Marching Fire on the open test, it felt like he could do some things with it, but it never felt like, oh no, there's a Jiang Jun, what will I do?
Yeah.
It only felt like that because of his feats maybe at times. But...
Yeah. Oh no, a team fight was being won. Oh, Jiang Jun's here. Mercy. Oh. Heroes never die.
Oh, there's 4 Jiang Jun. So I guess I will never kill anyone.
Guess I'll die.
Well, no, I will not die because he will not hit me, but I will not kill him.
I won't die. Yeah. So... I mean, leading on from that, I was surprised to see any additions to offensive options out of Sifu. Still, one zone, one side. Same speed, same damage, no feints. And I mean, does that surprise you? Like you're basically the highest possible level Nabushi you can kind of be in this game. Does it surprise you these offensive options are only, that zone from Sifu?
I guess it doesn't really surprise me because I'm not sure if that's what they're really looking for with it. But if they're not looking for like counter-attacking options out of Sifu stance, then why is there even a zone to begin with that you can use from there? I guess it's to like beat out guard breaks. That would be my assumption, that's what it is there for. Kind of like if you full block as Conqueror, you can zone to beat out guard breaks, right?
Sure.
So I guess that's kind of their thought process. Like they don't want it to be like a counter-attacking tool or an offensive tool. They want it to be more like, oh, you're low stamina, or oh, you're out of stamina. Just use this, I guess, and if someone tries to guard break you, have your zone. But if there was like one slightly quicker move out of it, I think it would be nice, but then you would have to be careful with how you balance it out as not to make it like a slightly worse version of hidden stance, for example, right?
Sure.
So as not to make it that, oh, okay, so I just dodge your attack and I get my 15, 20 or whatever damage. But yeah, something would be nice. Like maybe instead of having
and that's something. Yeah, I can get what you're saying. You don't want Sifu to have a ton of confirmed punishes on things across the board, but I would like something.
I think it would be nice is if you could zone from one side like you can right now, and then you could, for example, do an unblockable from the other side. So you could put a little bit of pressure at least on someone. If you dodge their attack and you can maybe put some pressure with the unblockable, or maybe in a team fight, you're just kind of sitting there waiting for your stamina to regenerate, and then you can put the pressure with unblockable. Now, of course, the unblockable itself is not the best either, but that's kind of the issue with the unblockable, right?
Sure.
But if the unblockable was made better, then I think that'd be a nice kind of compromise with how That would be like, you don't get a really strong defensive options.
I mean, it feels like it's just lacking something. I think we can agree on for options coming out of it. But I mean, there's some ideas. Other than that, to finish out, chat, I can't confirm it, but I am hopeful, so I thought I'd mention it. There may have been hitbox changes. Jiang Jun. I have no way of knowing this or confirming it for a few days, but he did get. I know his hitbox is pretty good, and he did land an unblockable while I was watching today's stream, the tournament stream they were having, and he landed something I did not expect him to land in a place that was on the orange glow of the zone, and I was kind of taken aback.
Yeah, he hit something that was not a wall, and I was really surprised by that. But yeah, he hit something, so there might be some changes. I mean, that was like the biggest.
Oh,
the biggest
please God. Please God, give that man hitboxes.
The only hitbox that he has is on the walls.
Well, if there's a wall nearby, he's guaranteed to hit it. That's the first tip. There's gotta be Jiang Jun tips videos, boys. And the first tip is if you're in a narrow room, you can't fight there. Leave.
All your attacks are zone attacks, but only if you're next to a wall.
You can only do attacks from your top stance if you're in a narrow room, guys. Or lights from the side, maybe.
Only do the forward dodge heavy, and that's it.
Forward dodge heavy kick mix up, bro. Alright, guys, that kind of covers the changes for today. I learned, how did you feel about JJ's changes? I'm positive on them. If the hitboxes are changed and are decent, I'm feeling much more hopeful about playing the hero than I was yesterday.
Now, as someone who hasn't really played much Jiang Jun, I played, a few games here and there, obviously, but I haven't really played them like nearly as extensively as you. The biggest thing, like as playing against him, would be to give him actual tools that he can use, which I guess the kick is supposed to be that, and give him actual hitboxes, which hopefully is going to happen. We don't know. And then tone down his feeds so that his feeds are not as strong as they.
They need a nerf. They're too strong.
But if you just nerf the feeds, but then don't do anything else to the character, well, you're just kind of nuking the character from the
from launch.
Yeah, he's just not good.
Already dead.
So I hope that they can actually make his kid good in the near future. I don't think that's gonna happen at launch. I don't think they're gonna surprise us with more.
Yeah,
games.
I mean. You see, right now he doesn't look like he's trash.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're gonna go out there. You're playing Shigoki, right?
No, of course.
You're not going out there. You're not playing Zerker either. You're not playing the Bushi level of 4s standard. Well, you'll be out there and you'll be able to do some work. I mean, that's kind of how it feels with JJ right now for me.
Yeah, which is a nice starting point. I hope they don't just go, okay, sure, we launched the characters, now we are done. Like they've been done for for the past year and a half with characters that they release. Hopefully they're gonna be like, okay, well, let's see, let's follow up on these heroes and let's see what what we can really improve.
I mean, the big expansion is done now, right? So there's probably some holidays. People need to go on there, some Christmas holidays and all that jazz. We're coming up to that time of year too. So hopefully we're in the next season launches. Next season, 3 months or so, 3.5 months, whatever. We'll get some extra work on our current cast and roster, including the Wu Lin, considering that the expansion's done, and maybe some stuff for the competitive scene too. Who knows?
Oh, that would be nice.
That would be poggers, guys. Cheers for checking out the stream. Alern was with us today, and if you don't know, Alern has a YouTube channel where he's covered the same way, but probably far more professional with Nusha. Well, more knowledge, far more knowledge. Yeah, knowledge. Did I say that? He's covered in Nusha, Shaolin, and Tiandi. And I'll leave a link for you in the description if you want to check that out and go check out Learn's channel. It's probably the best place to learn how to get better at For Honor on YouTube. And Learn, cheers for your time. We'll catch you later, Borski.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
It was the day